Hey yo, y'all, it is Brian here. Today, talking about the San Francisco 49ers. You guys know what it is. Today is Monday, Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to you all. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the day off. If you have a day off, if you're working, hopefully you have the best day at work you can possible. But if you're watching this is Position Edge, where I compare both teams' positions, so quarterback versus quarterback, receiver versus receiver. I pick on who I would pick and take to a game in that certain week. In this case, it'll be the 49ers versus Steelers. This is going to be a good one. 49ers, I think we all know from last year, one of the best teams in the NFL, and I think they are heading into this year in 2023. Might sound biased for anybody that's not a 49er fan, but they really are a good team in my opinion. Pittsburgh, they're on the rise. They're on the come up. They haven't had a losing season, I don't think ever, honestly. Mike Tomlin, he's a really good coach. They're led by Kenny Pickett, who is still kind of unproven, but trying to prove himself in his second year. I think he can do good things for this team. Their defense is still really outstanding with TJ Watt and Cam Hayward leading the line. They also got a great addition in Joey Porter Jr. I know the circle of life. Minka Fitzpatrick, he's a beast as well, although Juszczyk did kind of juice him the last time they met a couple of years ago. A lot of exciting things. This is an exciting matchup. Two iconic franchises. Both teams have one of the most Super Bowl victories in the NFL with the 49ers 5, Pittsburgh 6. Very impressive franchises, and this is going to be a really fun one. So let's just sit back, relax, and let's talk about this game position by position. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Definitely subscribe if you're new. It's always fun to have a discussion with you guys, whether you're a 49er fan or somebody outside the 49ers. It's always a fun time to talk about football. If you're a current subscriber, thank you so much as always to tuning in to my channel. It means a lot to me, and you guys know who you are pretty much. Let's just get into it. But before I do, per usual, like and subscribe. Much appreciated. That always helps out a lot. And let's just get this started. Position by position, who gets the edge coming into this game? 49ers versus Steelers. This one's a little bit controversial, or I should say everyone's controversial. I remember in 2019, everybody thought I was a dummy, but yet the 49ers were winning so many times, they were proving me right. This is just for fun. If I say something that you guys don't like, then sorry, it's just opinions. I'm just a guy on YouTube talking about football. I don't know anything about football, and you guys probably don't either, because if we were people that knew football, we would either be executives or coaches. That out of the way, let's get this started. 49ers versus Steelers, who has the edge position by position? First up, quarterback, Kenny Pickett versus Brock Purdy. Who am I going to give the edge to? Honestly, I kind of can't tell you, because these two guys, they're very unproven. Well, I guess you could say Brock's proven, but he's only played a few games. Kenny, he had an up and down rookie season. It's hard to really tell on who has the edge, who I would take in this game, the current quarterback position. But if I had to give a slight edge, I'd probably give it to Purdy. I think Purdy has the better team in terms of the offensive talent that he has. He has a lot of guys to lean to, and he's a really talented quarterback. Kenny, I think he can get up there, but he has a tough defense to go up against. But at the same time, Brock has a tough defense to go up against in Pittsburgh. It's going to be a tough one, but I'm going to just give the slight edge to my boy Brock. He could do great things. He's just going to have to take a lot of pressure in this one, because Pittsburgh's defense is really good. But hopefully the offensive line led by Trent Williams can do good things. But position for position, I'm going to give it to Brock Purdy by a slight edge. But, I mean, if you want to go with Kenny Pickett, go right ahead, because it's pretty much neck and neck just based on their experience coming into this game. Next up, the running back position, Christian McCaffrey versus Najee Harris. Those are the two main running backs for this upcoming position. Both guys looking really good. Christian, we all know he's one of the best in the NFL. Najee Harris, he had a fantastic year despite being hurt a little bit, but he played every single game. Very, very tough man. And it's a really tough one, honestly. But if I had to give the edge, I'm still going to give it to the 49ers, because Christian is just on another planet. Najee is a great runner, but Christian is a great football player. He can do everything you want in a running back. He can run the ball, receive, quarterback the ball. The game against the Rams last year, that was the game that really cemented him as the all-jack of trades player for the 49ers. You could say Debo, but I'm going to go with Christian, because that game was just his coming out party for the 49ers. He's still recognized as one of the best running backs in the NFL. He's a great talent. We all know what he is. Also, you have a lot of guys behind him that are going to play really well. You got Elijah Mitchell whenever he's healthy, Jordan Mason, Davis Price. You got a lot of guys to go to. But I believe Pittsburgh got somebody else to compete with Najee, but Najee is still the number one running back. Hey, you can't go with either one, but for me personally, I would go with Christian, because he's a beast. He's a beast. I know 2 picks already with the 49ers. I know 49er hat, but that's how good I think the 49ers will be this year, and this game coming up in week 1. But let's focus on week 1. That's the one that we are trying to think about first before any other games for the rest of the year. So in this case, I'm going to take Christian McCaffrey, but by a slight edge over Najee just because of his versatility. Next up, the wide receiver position. Very interesting one. You got a lot of great players for the 49ers. Debo, Ayuk, all those other guys. Juwan Jennings, a third down guy. The Steelers, they have a lot of great talent as well. They got Allen Robinson. I didn't even know they had him. He's coming off from the Rams, not really the best year of his life. He had a much better career in Chicago, but in LA, he kind of failed. They kind of gave him a big contract. It didn't really work out, but hey, not every contract works out, right? Trey Lance. But anyways, looking at the Steelers receiving position, they have Deontay Johnson. He's a really good standout guy. George Pickens, he had a great rookie year last year. He was outstanding. He made some acrobatic catches. He had some clutch game-winning touchdowns last year. Really good guy, really good guy. He's going to be a future star for the Steelers in the next few years with Kenny Pickett. But if I had to give a slight edge, experience, I'm going with the 49ers. They have more experience. Debo, I mean, honestly, you could just pick Debo out of everybody. He can do everything you want. He's like Christian McCaffrey, being the wide back, wide receiver, even a quarterback if you want to put him there as well. I just love me number 19, one of my favorite players for the 49ers, just everything he can do. Ayuk, I mean, I'm always saying this every single year, but he's on the rise, but I still think he's a fantastic receiver. He could be number one, maybe somewhere else, but with the 49ers, it's kind of hard to really stand out as a top receiver because everybody does everything. And he's just an outstanding player, but he's kind of the number 2 guy, I would say, for the 49ers. I'd say he is probably the better receiver than Debo, but Debo could do everything, and he's a little bit more unorthodox in terms of playing the receiver position, but he does it really, really well. He's the number 1 guy for me personally in San Francisco. They got guys behind them that are really good, so I'm going to go with the 49ers by a slight edge, more for the experience, and plus Debo could just do it all for the 49ers. The only issue for them is the health issue. Hopefully they can stay healthy as much as they can. The addition of Christian McCaffrey, hopefully everybody doesn't have to perform as hard as they usually do. So edge, 49ers. Next up, the tight end position, George Kittle versus Pat Freiermuth. I can't really say his name. If I had to give the slight edge, I'm going to give it to George Kittle, definitely. But I will say there is a caveat. George is a little bit banged up a little bit. Is he going to be playing this game? I have no idea. If he's not going to be playing this game, then I'm going to give it to Pittsburgh, to Mr. Patman. But right now, I'm assuming that he's going to play in this game. Got to give it to George Kittle. He's one of the best tight ends in the NFL, arguably, I would say, with Travis Kelce. I can't go wrong without it. So I'm going to go with George Kittle big time because I love me some Kittle. He can make some acrobatic catches as well. He can block, do everything you want. Yep, edge. 49ers. Wow, that's a lot of edges so far for the 49ers. I know it's kind of leaning towards the 49ers, but at the same time, that's how good I believe they are coming into this game, week 1. So, edge, George Kittle. Next up, the offensive line, 49ers versus Steelers. Who am I going to pick? Who would I go with coming in this game? Really tough one. Both lines are pretty good, pretty decent, but I had to give it to the 49ers again. I know some of you Steelers fans are like, man, this guy's just all things 49ers, but when you have the best left tackle in the NFL, Trent Williams, you can't go wrong. And also the guys around him are really, really good. You got Aaron Banks with him, really, really good. All these other guys, I mean, this offensive line clicks when it clicks, and they're the reason why the running game is so good with Christian McCaffrey. So they can block big time. They can block. I've been a fan of theirs for the past few years. Trent Williams has been a big difference maker ever since Joe Staley retired. You can't go wrong with the 49ers offensive line. The only thing that really stopping them too is injuries. Sometimes injuries happen, and without Trent Williams, then our offensive line kind of sucks, to be honest with you. But when he's there, which he will be this week, it's going to be really hard. But Pittsburgh's defensive line, they're really good. They can give a really good challenge for the 49ers coming into this game. Slight edge to the 49ers. I love this offensive line. I think they're going to do a really good job. And you got to give some love for the Silverback, right? That's pretty much it for the offensive line. Let's go down defense. Next up is the defensive line. 49ers versus Steelers. Who am I going to give the edge to? Actually, I usually give it to the 49ers because they have the best defensive line, in my opinion, in the NFL. They have Javon Hargrave. That is a big addition. But I'm actually going to give it to Pittsburgh because Nick Bosa, I have no idea where he's at. Is he going to be playing for the 49ers? Is he not? Well, as of Monday, he's not. So I'm just going to give the edge to the Steelers. But it can change if Bosa is going to sign a contract by this week, which I think they can make it happen. But I'm not sure yet. They still have a few days left before the games do start on Sunday. But right now, with Bosa not being there, a very big difference maker. Although our line is still very good, you got to go with TJ Watt and company, Cam Hayward. Those guys, they can kick butt. And when TJ Watt's healthy, he's been leading the league in sacks too. So I'm going to give the edge to him. I know he's more of a outside linebacker, but he's more considered an end because they run a 3-4 defense, and he's always on the line most of the time. He gets a lot of quarterbacks. He sacks them a lot. I think the one year, a few years ago, he had about 20-something plus sacks very impressive there. Bosa's the reigning defensive player of the year. But as I said, he's not there, so I got to go what I have right now. I'm going with the Steelers defensive line by a slight margin, but if Bosa does come back, I can give it back to the 49ers. But for right now, going to Pittsburgh. Next up, the linebacker position, 49ers versus Steelers. Who am I going to go with? I got to go with my boy Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. Those guys, they kick a lot of butt. Fred's probably one of the best linebackers in the NFL. I know it's kind of astronomical to say all of these players are one of the best players at their position, but Fred Warner is just a beast. Very smart linebacker. Dre Greenlaw, although he is a bit reckless sometimes, getting a lot of unnecessary roughness penalties, he's still a really good linebacker. You can't go wrong without him. Pittsburgh's really good, but I do love me some Fred Warner big time, number 54. So slight edge to the 49ers. Got to give it to him big time. The hardest one to predict for me, in my opinion, besides the quarterback position, is the defensive back position for both teams. You got the 49ers led by Talanoa Hufanga, Tyshawn Gibson. You got Travarius Ward. Those guys, they're amazing. But also Pittsburgh, Mika Fitzpatrick, and the addition of Joey Porter from the draft. That's a lot of great players right there. I don't know who to give the edge to be honest with you. This is the one I'm going to cross swords with for both teams. But if I had to give the edge, wow, I really don't know. But for me, I don't give tiebreakers. There's no such thing as a draw for me. This is NFL football, but this is no draw for me. I don't like draws at all. But oh man, both are really, really good. But you know what? I'm gonna give it to, I'd say the Steelers, honestly. I mean, I love the 49ers, but I feel like sometimes they do give up too many big plays. They're really good short to middle range, but then when it's the long play going, I don't know. Sometimes they struggle on that. I haven't seen them yet in the regular season. This is the first time we're going to see them in 2023. Maybe they can improve upon that with Steve Wilkes. But for right now, coming into this game, it gets me worrying a little bit because if you're a 49er fan, you know sometimes they can give up that big play, like 50-plus yards, something, and if not, there'll be a pass interference. That's what I'm worried about. So I'm going to give it a slight edge to Pittsburgh, although they're kind of unproven with Joey Porter Jr. going to his first regular season game. We'll see, but I'm going to give the slight edge to Pittsburgh, and there you have it right there. Last up, the special teams, 49ers versus Steelers. Who am I going to go with? I'm actually going to go with the Steelers because the 49ers, we don't have a kicker right now. Jake Moody, he's hurt. Zane Gonzalez, he's on the injured list. Robbie Gould, he hasn't been signed yet. A lot of uncertainty there. We don't want Mitch Wishnowsky kicking field goals because when Robbie got hurt and Mitch had to kick, it was not great at all. I think he made one, but he missed quite a bit when Robbie was out during one of the games. I forgot which one exactly, but it happened last year in 2022. So I'm going to give it to Pittsburgh by default just because we don't have a kicker right now. And I don't know if I can trust any kickers besides Robbie Gould. Even Jake Moody coming into the lineup, he looked kind of shaky in the preseason. But when he comes back, hopefully he looks really good. Right now, we don't have one, so I'm just going to go with Pittsburgh. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. Pretty good lineup right there, I say. Offensively, the 49ers have a lot of firepower going into this one. They do have to compete with Pittsburgh's defense. Big pass rushing, that's going to be really important. Also, that's the same case with Pittsburgh. They're going to have to deal with the 49ers pass rushing game, Fred Warner and company, and the defensive backs. It's going to be a really fun matchup. I know on paper, it looks really good, but you never know on the field. Maybe one team can blow the other one out. I'm hoping it's the 49ers over the Steelers any day of the week this week. It's going to be a fun one. I can't wait for this matchup. I hope you guys are as well. Let's have a great discussion. I can't wait to see what you guys have to say. You can say I'm great. You can say I'm an idiot. That's totally fine. It's all in fun. That's all it really is. That's it, guys. Please let me know what you guys think about the position edge. Who do you have per team? On which position do you think each team is better at? Let me know in the comments below. Again, like and subscribe. That's much appreciative, and I hope to catch you guys up tomorrow on Tuesday when I predict the game between these two. Bye, guys. Love y'all. Hope you have a great rest of your day, rest of your night. Go Niners all day, every day. Happy Labor Day to the rest of you guys.